Pearson rolled her eyes, but she wasn't really upset. They had their issues, but after 10 years of marriage, she was still giddy over him at times. He was the only human being for whom she'd curtail her razor-sharp tongue. Pearson applied one last coat of gloss and lifted herself from the chair, holding on to the sides. "Oops," she said, and snickered at the fact that she nearly lost her footing. When she was steady, she turned to Niles. "I'm only doing this for you. I would never choose these women as friends." Pearson put her hands up, stopping him mid-sentence. "And don't tell me to be nice." She slipped on her strapless maxi dress with the airy layers of soft-flowing chiffon, took one last look in the mirror, grabbed her evening purse, and headed downstairs. Niles jogged down the steps and through the house at a brisk pace. Stopping at the front door, he turned to watch Pearson trailing behind. She could see the question he was itching to ask behind his eyes. Pearson cast her eyes upward and sucked her teeth. "What?" Niles took a deep breath. "Can you please take it easy tonight?" he asked, referring to her drinking. "Sure, Niles," Pearson replied and waved him off once again. Pearson reached for the doorknob and heard him sigh behind her. She knew he was annoyed and hoped he'd get over it during the ride. Chapter 2. The Lees. Fully dressed and ready to go, Ryan Lee paced the length of her spacious foyer while waiting for her husband Anderson to come home. She hoped she had successfully applied enough makeup to hide the evidence that she had been crying. The heartbreak she felt the night before had numbed. The more she became familiar with these emotions, the less time she spent wallowing in them. When she woke, she'd been done with the crying. However, the underlying rage never left. It only revealed itself passively. Anderson left the previous afternoon with nothing more than a simple, "I'll be right back. I need to run by Niles's house real quick." Ryan hadn't seen him since. All of her calls and texts went unanswered. She knew he would return home soon because they had a dinner party to attend. It was Sage's birthday, and Anderson wouldn't miss dinner with the foursome at their favorite place. Ryan often felt like Sage, Niles, and Mike were more of a priority to Anderson than she was. When she heard the tires of Anderson's Jaguar crackle against the gravel, moths took flight in her stomach. A fresh wave of anger enveloped her. She stopped pacing, stood rigidly still, and tried to tame her breathing. As she continued rubbing her clammy palms together, Ryan flinched at the sound of the car door slamming. She envisioned each footstep, wondering what she would face when he walked through the door. She jumped again when she heard his keys in the lock. Shaking her hands, she tried to keep her trembling from making its way through her entire body. Her heart pounded as the locks tumbled, clicked, and the doorknob turned. She convinced herself that she deserved an explanation and promised herself that she would stand her ground all the way through this time, no matter what he said. Anderson pushed the door open and stepped in. They were face to face, Ryan's chest heaving. Anderson's expression showed no guilt. Ryan swallowed hard. So many words crowded her brain, pushing themselves to the tip of her tongue only to be held there. She didn't know what to say first. "What's up, babe? You dressed already?" Anderson placed his hand on the small of her back and pecked her on the cheek. Ryan's breathing increased. "How dare you walk up in here as if nothing happened? Where have you been since yesterday afternoon? Nothing is open all night but hotels, bars, and legs. So whose legs were you between?" "What happened to you?" she asked through tight teeth. "I had some business to take care of," Anderson responded indifferently, then walked to the kitchen at the back of the house. He grabbed an apple off the table and walked back into the foyer, crunching obnoxiously. "What time is it? I don't want to be late." Ryan stood straight, taller even, holding her breath for a moment. "Anderson!" He turned and looked at her in a way that questioned what was wrong. "Where